Hello and welcome to this Astranti YouTube video taking a look at how you can get started with your licensed conveyancing apprenticeship. This is the final video in our series on licensed conveyancing apprenticeships, and if you want to see the rest of those videos, please like and subscribe and visit our website www.astranti.com for more information about apprenticeships and the courses that we provide. So in this video series, we've looked at the benefits of undertaking a conveyancing apprenticeship, how you can gain all this experience at no cost to yourself. So you may be thinking, well, that sounds great, I want to undertake it, but how do I actually go about doing it? Well, that's what we're going to look at in this video. We're going to look at the step-by-step process of finding an apprenticeship right through to qualifying as a licensed conveyancer. So let's begin. Now, the first thing is that you need to find an apprenticeship. You can't just undertake an apprenticeship course. You can't just become an apprentice by applying to become one. You have to be employed in a position. The reason for this is because unlike if you're just doing a qualification in your own time, a lot of the training happens on the job. That's an important part of the apprenticeship, is that you are actively employed undertaking the role of the conveyancer, of the legal executive, of the accountant, whatever it may be. So you need to have a job. You need to be in a position. Now, there are two ways of doing this. You can either find an apprenticeship that is being actively marketed, that is being actively promoted for you to apply for, to enter a company as an apprentice. And you can find these on employer sites and job boards such as Indeed. And you can also find these on the government's websites and the specific government apprenticeship website. So you can log on to these sites, and if you want to access them, we've got the links here. You'll find a link to this particular document below, or a link to the website, and you can find those job boards yourself on the government's website. So it could be that a law firm, a conveyancing firm, is actively looking for a number of conveyancing apprentices, and so you can apply for those in the same way that you would apply for a job. Now, the other route might be that you're already employed at an organization and you want to undertake an apprenticeship. So, for example, you might be employed at a conveyancing firm in a non-legal capacity as a receptionist or in the marketing department or whatever it may be, and you want to transition into the legal side. You might then talk to your employer and agree that you undertake an apprenticeship. So you're already employed in that regard, and they're already giving you the allowance to come on and do the job training, but you then need to find the training provider for that apprenticeship. Now, it could be that your employer has links with providers. If not, I would suggest then looking for an apprenticeship scheme. And you can do this through the Licensed Conveyancing Council's site, where they've got a list of their approved providers, or also the government as well. You can look on the apprenticeship site, the government apprenticeship site, licensed conveyancer, conveyancing technician, here's the providers that offer it. So that would be what you would do in that instance. And we've got some advice here on finding an apprenticeship. Do remember it's like applying for a job, so keep your eye out for posting. Some of them might start at different times of the year, some of them might publish them at different times of the year, so do keep it in mind. Maybe bookmark where the job boards are, look through it, and apply when new ones come up. Do keep in mind that there are deadlines for applications, much in the same way as a job. So do make a note of those deadlines, make sure you're keeping on track, make sure you're not applying last minute, particularly because if there is, say, an organization that wants 5 apprentices for conveyancing, and they've put the job on for 3 months. Now, if they find 5 people quickly, they might not take the job ad down, but actually there is no real positions available. So it's not a good idea to wait till the last minute. And do remember that, like jobs, you can apply for as many as you want. It's not a case of you need to wait to hear back from this particular apprenticeship scheme before you can apply for another. So do apply for as many as possible. Make sure you don't apply last minute. Make sure you keep an eye out for postings and make a note of those deadlines. So once you have found an apprenticeship, once you've found an organization that is offering roles for apprentices, make sure that you send in your application. And again, regardless of whether it's in law, whether it's conveyancing, legal executives, accounting, or anything that you are looking to apply as an apprentice in, remember, it is like a job application. The employer will want to know about you, want to know why you want the position, why you should be taken in for an interview, and why you should be offered the position. So again, it's like a job interview. So remember, when applying, to send in your CV and customize it. Make sure that it's relevant to this conveyancing apprenticeship application. If there's skills, experience, achievements that are nothing to do with becoming an apprentice and nothing to do with conveyancing, etc., perhaps they're not as relevant as ones that are really relevant, such as good time management, good organizational, good people skills. Those are all crucial components to being an effective conveyancer. So make sure you highlight those on your application. Make sure as well that you use those transferable skills that you have, or you highlight those. Problem solving, adaptability, teamwork, again, really important. It is anticipated by the employers, the prospective employers, that you won't necessarily have lots of industry experience because, of course, these apprentices are often aimed at people that are out of school and looking to start their careers. They're not going to expect you to have 10 years of conveyancing experience to apply for an entry-level job where you're going to learn how to become a conveyancer. So don't be put off by that. You don't need lots of industry experience. But because of that, you need to emphasize all those other skills and other achievements that you've got and why that's going to translate into good performance as a licensed conveyancer. So do prepare a good CV, including those transferable skills, including your education as well, and other projects and achievements that are going to be relevant to the apprenticeship. One thing as well to also say, and this is a mistake a lot of prospective applicants make for anything, and this is not just conveyancing apprenticeships, any apprenticeships, any job whatsoever, is make sure you craft an engaging cover letter. This is something a lot of applicants miss. They don't provide a cover letter. There are lots of employers that actively have said that if you've not provided a good cover letter, we won't look at the CV. Because the cover letter is what ties it all together. It covers why you want this job, why you want this apprentice, why you want it with this company, why you want to excel in this industry. So make sure to produce a cover letter, highlight the skills, make sure you tie your skills back to the role requirements to ensure you're conveying your enthusiasm, your commitment to learning, why you want to join this company. And researching the company's history, the company's values is a great way of doing that as well. Make sure you can put that in your cover letter and bring it up at the interview. Say things like, oh, I really want to join this company because of the particular project it's undertaken in my local community, and that really inspired me, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be involved in that. That just highlights your interest and highlights that you've done your research. At the very least, that you've done the research. That's an important thing, even if it's not necessarily conveying commitment to this job or conveying interest. Of course, that would be nice if it does. It just shows that you've taken the application seriously. That you've not just filtered by conveyancing applications or conveyancing apprenticeship opportunities and you've just sent a one-size-fits-all cover letter to 100 different companies. You've not even thought about what those companies do. Nothing is going to cause you to lose a position when you're in the interview process not actually knowing what this particular company that you've applied for does and the various different projects it's involved with. So demonstrate that you've done your research. Also, be professional. Make sure you're dressing appropriately. Make sure any interactions with employers is good. Be punctual. If they ask for you to send in certain information ahead of the interview by a certain time, make sure you do it as soon as possible. Be courteous, be professional in everything that you do. One thing as well to make sure that you do is, as lots of communication goes through email nowadays, is to make sure that you have a professional email address. A lot of people, when they're 18, they're just coming out of school, they might still have the email address that they created when they were 13 years old. and it's a really silly one that's got, you know, stupid names in and numbers and all these sorts of things, the easiest thing to do is go onto Outlook or Gmail, some sort of web browser based email one, and just create a email address which is firstname.secondname@gmail.com. Very nice, very clear-cut professional email address. And also, don't be discouraged if you don't get the first job that you apply for, the first apprenticeship that you apply for. Like the job market, the apprenticeship market can be very competitive, particularly for very desirable apprenticeships like the conveyancing one. So if you're unsuccessful, ask for feedback, what they perhaps looked at in your application thought you weren't right for the role. Take that feedback on board. Don't be challenging it and questioning it and saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about. Of course they know what they're talking about. They're at a conveyancing firm that has been conveyancing for many years, has taken hundreds of trainees and put them through the process. They know what they need more than you know what they need. So don't challenge it. Ask for feedback and apply that feedback when submitting your next application. And once you have got your apprenticeship, or if you are already employed and then you're being asked to find an apprenticeship provider because you want to transition to an apprenticeship, the next step might be to select your training provider. Certain employers may already have one that they use, but if not, they might ask you to find one. And this is really important because a decent training provider is the one that will help solidify your on-the-job side of the apprenticeship agreement with your employer, but will also take you through the qualification and also your off-the-job training programs. They're also going to be there throughout your apprenticeship to review your progress and to provide you with support when you need it. Now, if your employer doesn't have one and they ask you to find one, you can find it on the government site, again, finding providers of the conveyancing apprenticeship through the Council of Licensed Conveyancers for approved providers, and so on. And a few tips to look out for would be to find one that is covered, the one that is approved by the regulatory body. So, for example, when you go on the government site, it might give you the list of everyone that is approved to offer the conveyancing apprenticeship, but they might be colleges, etc., that aren't actually approved by the Council of Licensed Conveyancers. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't be able to take you through your apprenticeship, but it's always best to find one that is approved by the actual membership body that governs the industry, because they have very, very high acceptance standards, and every training provider that is approved by them must meet those standards and is regularly audited to ensure they are still meeting those standards. So my advice, if you are in this position, would be to go onto the approved CLC course provider's website and find your provider there. Also, then check that company is qualified to offer it using the government's apprenticeship website to check that they are both on that list and on the government's list. Next, when you are choosing between suppliers, let's say you've found a couple that are on those lists, do look for one that breaks down material, that does offer more than the bog standard approach, that does break down those complex legal topics, particularly for apprentices that might be fresh out of school. Law has a lot of complex terminology, a lot of complicated concepts that aren't actually as difficult as they may appear to be once they've been broken down into a logical, simplified fashion. So look for a provider that does that, and also look for a provider that has experienced tutors. And not just experienced tutors as in they're experienced at tutoring, but they have experience of being conveyancers. They have worked in the legal industry. Because the one thing that really separates apprenticeship courses and these sorts of more on-the-job training courses versus academic qualifications is the practical experience. And it's teaching you things not just so that you know them from an academic standpoint, but you can apply them in the workplace. And the best way of doing that is not only to be working in there, but also in the workplace, but also to have a tutor that has worked in there. So when you are in a session and your tutor is taking you through land law or taking you through conveyancing law, contract law, etc., they can then say, and this is how it works in your job. This is what I used to do when I was working in this profession, or what I do because I still work in this profession. that really helps to bring it to life. It also really solidifies that application, which is so important. So once you have got an apprenticeship position, once you have found a training provider, started your course, you will then need to undertake that course. And this will involve several exams throughout. It will also require the on and off the job training. And once you have got to the end of all of that, you'll need to undertake your endpoint assessment. And this is as the name suggests, the final step. This is what is known as the EPA, and it's a crucial phase at the very end that as a final overview assessment, evaluation of your skills, your knowledge, your competence, to ensure you are ready to be a qualified licensed conveyancer, to assure that you have met the final standards. Because the final apprenticeship standards are separate from the exams that you've undertaken throughout. For example, with conveyancing, you will undertake the level 4 and level 6 diplomas, which are qualifications that are objectively examined. But on top of that, to meet the apprenticeship standards, the IFATE apprenticeship standards, you'll need to prove, to demonstrate that you have met those standards, that you can do this. It'll be a list of things that will say the apprentice will be able to do X, Y, Z. The apprentice will be able to do A, B, C. The apprentice will be able to demonstrate this knowledge, and so on. So those standards have been developed by industry experts and employers as well, to ensure that everyone who finishes their apprenticeship meets the standards and the specific needs of the industry. So it's another reason why apprenticeships are so good, because the actual outcome has been designed around experts in the industry and employers within the industry. And the endpoint assessment will usually take the form of either a practical assessment like an exam, knowledge test, or a portfolio review. And this portfolio, we recommend, is something that you start bringing in from day one. You start collecting information of everything that you've done, all the projects, all the achievements throughout the apprenticeship. So it's far easier to then hand it over at the end of your apprenticeship, rather than in the last few months having to go back over everything you've done over the last few years. And the EPA endpoint assessment is conducted by an independent assessment organization. So it's not done by your employer, it's not done by your training provider. And this ensures that impartiality and objectivity as well. So, of course, because your employer and your training provider are going to want you to pass. So it can't be done by them, because it's the final, are they able to qualify, are they passing their apprenticeship or not? So it has to be done by an independent organization. And so once you have met all the requirements, the ongoing requirements of your apprenticeship, your on-the-job training, your off-the-job training, your exams, you then pass the EPA, you will have achieved everything. You will now essentially have passed your apprenticeship. You've demonstrated you are ready to be a qualified licensed conveyancer, qualified legal executive, qualified accountant, again, whatever it may be. We'll also grant you additional qualifications if you have undertaken those qualifications as part of the apprenticeship. For example, on the conveyancing technician apprenticeship, you'll also do the level 4 diploma. If you're on the licensed conveyancing apprenticeship, you'll also do the level 6 diploma, and you'll also get those diplomas as well. And then once you've done that, you can then apply for membership with the relevant membership body, and you will be fully qualified. Congratulations, you are now a qualified licensed conveyancer. You have the opportunity to move on to different roles, to gain further experience, to receive that substantial pay rise as a qualified legal professional, all at no cost to yourself. So that is when you will be fully qualified. You've met all the apprenticeship standards, you've met all the external exam standards, you're now a fully qualified legal conveyancer, licensed conveyancer. So sounds good? Are you now ready to start your licensed conveyancing apprenticeship? We are able to take you through that apprenticeship, as well as give you support, provide you with advice if you are looking to look for a job provider, if you're looking for extra advice, if you're already on an apprenticeship and you want further advice about that. We are here to help you. We'd love to hear from you. So please do drop us a line, drop us a message in the comments below, visit our website. We will be there from start to finish to help you as you undertake this very prestigious, very lucrative, and very rewarding licensed conveyancing apprenticeship. So if you have enjoyed this series, please like and subscribe. We're going to be producing lots more videos over the coming months. videos about the industry, videos about opportunities, videos about the actual theories and advice on exams, etc. So please do like and subscribe. Visit our website if you want to know more, as we would really like to hear from you. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I wish you the best of luck as you embark on your journey to becoming a licensed conveyancer.